Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to this explainer where we're going to unpack a truly fascinating source text titled I Was 80% Wrong. Now, the author of this piece spent over 3 years generating something like 1,400 scenario prompts for business leaders, constantly scanning the horizon to figure out exactly where technology and strategy are heading. And the core premise they arrived at? It's a total paradigm shift for how we think. We have to stop trying to predict isolated trends and instead start shifting our entire mindset to training for convergence.
80%. The author actually starts with a pretty dramatic confession. 80% of their predictions were just flat out wrong. And why is that? Well, because predicting the future is mostly fake. You know, the business world desperately wants certainty, right? They want a neat, tidy top 10 list of technologies so they can safely place their bets. But waiting around for that kind of certainty is a dangerous trap. It creates this complete illusion of safety, all while the real threats are brewing right under your nose. So the crucial takeaway here is beautifully simple. Prediction is overrated. Adaptability is the real advantage. The future doesn't arrive in straight, predictable lines that you can easily plot on a graph. It arrives through completely unexpected convergences. Biology meets computing, geopolitics meets climate, and before you know it, a seemingly minor tech update becomes an existential threat to your business. Adaptability is the true, resilient muscle that your organization desperately needs to build. Which brings us to a really tough question that we all need to answer for ourselves. Why are we so addicted to the killer trend? Every single year it's AI or blockchain or quantum or the metaverse. We rely so heavily on these isolated trend reports. But the reality is, business disruption almost never comes from one single isolated signal. It comes from combinations that literally nobody is watching. Netflix didn't kill Blockbuster entirely on its own. It was a convergence of streaming, broadband, and mobile devices all coming together at the exact same time.
That perfectly sets up Section 1, the Great Convergence. The thing is, technologies are fundamentally no longer developing in their own quiet silos. Instead, they're acting like interchangeable Lego bricks. Thanks to low-code platforms and AI, you don't need a massive team of specialized software engineers to build something new anymore. You literally just snap the pieces together. The author started using this Lego metaphor back in 2023, and over the course of just 3 years, it went from a neat idea to a literal product reality, with AI generating complex structures from incredibly simple text prompts. Just walk through this 30-year abstraction curve with me and look at the staggering speed of democratization. In the 90s, we had machine code, which required highly trained specialists. In the 2000s, programming languages made it slightly easier. By the 2010s, we saw those visual drag-and-drop low-code interfaces pop up. And by 2023, the end point arrived. The hottest new programming language on Earth is now just English. If you can speak or type what you want in natural language, the machine just builds it. Crazy, right? So the crucial point here is really understanding this definition of technology abstraction. It's the process of simplifying complex tech until absolutely anyone can use it. And the end point of that process is always democratization. When everyone has the power to build, the competitive advantage completely shifts. It's no longer about your technical capability or having a massive team of developers. It becomes entirely about your strategic imagination. Let's actually ground this in some real-world, unlikely convergences to show you what this great convergence really looks like. Just look at these collisions. AI plus CRISPR, that gives us programmable life. Quantum computing plus living brain tissue equals biological computing. Citizen development tools, combined with agentic AI, creates the single-person unicorn, literally a billion-dollar business run by one single person with 0 employees. Biomimicry plus 3D printing means we are literally growing manufacturing rather than building it. The real action, the true disruption, is happening in these collisions, not the individual technologies.
All right, let's move right into Section 2, when biology becomes digital. We are currently witnessing the complete dissolution of the boundary between the living and the engineered. Prepare yourself for what the author calls the reverse Scooby-Doo technique. You know how in Scooby-Doo, the monster always turns out to be just some guy in a rubber mask? The supernatural becomes totally mundane. Well, in technology today, the mundane becomes supernatural. Dead spiders being repurposed as pneumatic robotic grippers. They literally call them necrobots. Or how about 800,000 living brain cells in a petri dish actually learning how to play the video game Pong? I know, these sound like completely bizarre science fiction concepts, but they are incredibly mundane realities published in peer-reviewed research right now. No way around it. And this brilliantly illustrates a larger, absolutely undeniable trend. The boundary between biological and digital is entirely dissolving. We've always categorized things super neatly, right? Living things are alive, machines are built and digital. But when biological systems literally become computing platforms or manufacturing hubs, that entire boundary just falls apart.
If your business model assumes that computing only means silicon chips and manufacturing only means steel fabrication, you are sitting on the wrong side of a massive category shift.
So, how on earth do we mentally prepare for realities that are this jarring? Let's check out Section 3, Feeling the Future. To actually handle these shifts, we have to focus on something completely unexpected: the quality of our attention. Consciousness is strategic infrastructure, folks. It's not just a cute lifestyle choice. The author notes a massive attention collapse among business leaders today, and we all feel it, right? We're constantly in a state of shallow scanning, back-to-back meetings, overflowing inboxes, quick glance dashboards. But the oldest technology we still haven't mastered is the human mind. Deep, uninterrupted attention is absolutely required to spot these weak convergence signals. If your leaders are constantly distracted, you're going to miss the future. I don't care how much data you have. So, to train this attention, the author recommends something pretty surprising. Start playing video games and reading science fiction. Wait, really? Yes! Because data only shows you what the future measures, but fiction makes you literally feel the future. Think about it. A 100-page consulting report full of bar charts doesn't exactly evoke a gut reaction. But immersing yourself in an engineered flow state like an Xbox game, or grappling with the heavy ethical dilemmas in a good sci-fi novel, that actually trains your mind to sit with uncomfortable, strange realities way before they happen in real life.
Which brings us to the pendulum contrast. As a leader right now, you have to assume doom. Systemic collapse, major cyber threats, or a massive failure of purpose. But simultaneously, and here's the trick, you have to assume abundance, rapidly falling costs, a thriving circular economy, and incredible new single-person unicorn businesses. A robust strategy has to hold the tension between these pessimistic and optimistic extremes at the exact same time. It's a balancing act. The leader who only sees doom, they're paralyzed. The leader who only sees abundance, they're just naive. You really need both to survive the swing of the pendulum. Let's move to our final and arguably most important area, Section 4. Context is the new moat.
So if intelligence, coding, and technical skills are all becoming cheap, democratic commodities, what is actually valuable to a business anymore? Well, the answer lies in this number: 15,000. Researchers recently ran 15,000 trials across 7 of the leading large language models, asking them high-level strategic business questions. And the result? The models just produce generic, fashionable trend slop. Without deep, highly specific organizational context, the AI just parrots back the exact same generic advice to everyone: innovate, differentiate, synergize. It sounds super smart, but it's utterly useless in practice.
And this starkly highlights the massive divide in business today. On one side, you have generic AI trend slop. On the other, you have the deep, messy, complex operational reality of your actual organization. For decades, companies paid huge premiums for McKinsey-style knowledge arbitrage. Packaging expertise into these neat little frameworks. But that business model is actively collapsing right now because AI can generate those generic frameworks in seconds for free. What AI absolutely cannot generate is your messy, unique reality. So it all boils down to this perfectly captured idea. The model is not the moat. Context is. AI brings the raw intelligence, for sure, but only human context, your team's accumulated judgment, your precisely mapped internal processes, your wonderfully messy institutional memory. Only that makes the intelligence actually useful. The organizations that are pulling ahead right now aren't the ones with the flashiest, most expensive custom AI models. They're the ones with the cleanest data and the deepest contextual awareness of their own daily operations. As we pull all these threads together, we have to realize something kind of profound. The gentle singularity is already here. This massive transformation didn't arrive with loud sirens or a sudden cinematic robot uprising. It just integrated quietly right into our daily lives. We still walk our dogs, we still drink our morning coffee, but underneath all of that, decisions are being automated. Biology is literally being programmed, and the boundary between the living and the digital is completely dissolving. Which leaves us with one uncomfortable, but honestly incredibly empowering question. Are you consuming the future, or are you training for it? Don't just sit back and read the trend reports while you wait around for certainty. Start building up that strategic imagination. Lean into the weirdness. Embrace the convergences. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep scanning those horizons, and I'll catch you next time.